Hello and welcome to this very special edition where I have a very special guest today with me, Anthony Heredia, CEO, Mahindra Manulife and AMFI Vice Chairman. Hello and welcome, Anthony, to this very special interaction that we are going to have. And congratulations, first of all, for the new role as AMFI Vice Chairman. A lot needs to be discussed on this, but let me just ask a very simple and basic question. Looking at AMFI and the way AMFI is working, not only for the industry but also for the investors, taking up this new role, how do you feel about it, and how do you think the role of AMFI is going to get enhanced? And in fact, talking about investor education, financial literacy, what all do you think that's been done and will be elaborated now going ahead?
So, yeah, thank you. So I think it's very early days. So let me just broadly say that AMFI has done a lot of work in the field of investor awareness and education in the last decade, but particularly in the last 4 or 5 years, right? I mean, the Mutual Fund Sahi Hai campaign, I think, has done wonders to how the retail investor perceives mutual funds, purely from a perspective of acceptance, trust, it becoming a far more acceptable form of investment. That's one bucket of it. The second is, I think we should never forget our distributor community. Eventually, to succeed in getting investors into mutual funds, you require reach, and supporting the distribution community is also something that's very, very important. And thirdly, there are a variety of issues that various firms need broad support, guidance, etc. And for us, I think it's just a continuation of the great work that so many people in AMFI have done over the last many, many years.
You also have an AMC and the responsibility to run that AMC. Let me also ask you, what's the kind of investor interest, investor trends, and maybe some pocket areas where you as an AMC is also focusing?
So we are a relatively late entrant, right? We started in 2016, but our journey so far has been, I would say, decent, and we've been fortunate. One of the things we've focused on is make sure we have the right set of people managing our funds. Because at the end of the day, I think that's the product. The investment performance that you are able to generate consistently for investors, that quality determines how well you are perceived or how well you are not perceived. And that's been one very clear focus area for us, which is, I think, by and large, held very decently. The second is, if you look at the brand we represent, we are a brand that tends to be recognized far more in Bharat, as one would call it, and one would hope, therefore, that our ability to get investors in smaller cities, etc., as the industry expands, is effectively a little more easier for us than the average asset manager. The third, which is, I think, the main part, is that, at least personally, I am convinced that given the way the GDP will likely grow over the next decade, given the way investors will aspirationally look at products that create wealth, beat inflation, the runway for mutual funds as an industry or as a category, I think, is magnificent, right? And so a lot of people ask me, so what are you going to do differently because, you guys entered so late? And the answer is, you don't need to do things differently. You just need to do simple things well. So I would say that comment would underpin what we've done so far and will underpin what we are going to do over the next 5-10 years as well.
I know it's too early to ask you about your top 10 priorities as far as AMFI Vice Chairman is concerned, but then being an industry person, you also feel the pulse of investors, you also feel the pulse of investing trends and the kind of participation that's going on, or in fact is increasing in equity markets. What about focusing on B30, tier 2, tier 3, tier 4? These are the places we're writing new success stories as far as investment and investments via mutual funds are concerned. As an industry person, as an AMFI Vice Chairman, as a CEO of a fund house, how do you see this story unveiling further?
So let me put it in two parts. I obviously agree that B30 or smaller markets are going to see exponential growth. But if you look at the penetration of mutual funds today in aggregate, it means that potentially 6 out of 10 investors in Mumbai are still not investing in mutual funds the way they should, or Delhi or Calcutta or Chennai for that matter. So I think the goal should be how many investors can we get into the fold? Today we have 4 crore unique investors. I would prefer to frame our ambition in terms of saying how can 4 crores become 8 crores and how quickly can that happen? How can 8 become 15 and 30? As opposed to defining it as has been popular defined as, how will 40 lakh or 50 lakh crores become 100 lakh crores? How will B30 become 30 or 40%? I think if you just define your ambition in terms of how many people can I create wealth for, and the more number of people I can create wealth for, the greater good we are doing to society as a whole. That gives a very, very different perspective. And I don't think that ambition, therefore, means that only B30 is what you focus on. I think there is enough to be done in T30 as well.
All right, last question to you, and then we'll wrap up this discussion. What categories in your fund house do you think people are really investing much in?
So if you look at statistics, especially over the last 6 to 9 months, I would say a lot of that has been small and mid cap. I would say that our advice, especially in the last 3 or 4 months to investors, is don't fall in love with categories based too much on what is being discussed, what is past returns. Probably better thing to do is look at flexi cap, multi cap, stay diversified, use systematic investment plans, use systematic investing through transfer plans. That is really what we are trying to advocate. Although I will concede that a lot of the money, at least in the last 6 to 9 months, predominantly has come in small and mid cap. But my view, the next 1 year, I think we'll see a lot more money coming in multi-cap funds and flexi-cap funds on equity. And I am a very, very big believer in the concept of multi-asset funds. I think, especially for investors who are thinking long-term, retirement planning, stuff like that, I think multi-asset funds that have equity, fixed income, and gold become hugely relevant. And I would say that I think that will be the fastest growing category over the next 1 to 2 years.
All right. Thank you so much, Anthony, for being on the show today and talking to our viewers. Thank you.
Thank you so much.